Hi and welcome to the Financial Fox. Today we are back on the show with the Canadian entrepreneur Frank Dumas to discuss technology and innovation, but also his company ZeU Crypto Networks, a Canadian blockchain and technology company focused on building a real use case application of blockchain technology. This man has many colorful life stories. He has been involved in different industries, from mining to finance to technology. He has been raising capital for different companies, including St. George Ecomoney, who is the parent company of ZeU Crypto Networks. Joining us today will be also Jean Philippe Beaudet, Chief Technology Officer and a pivotal figure of ZeU Crypto Networks. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Frank Dumas and JP to find out more about what they've been up to and the plan for 2020 for ZeU Crypto Networks. Hi guys, how are you?
Very good, very good. And you?
I'm fine. I see you have all smiling face.
Oh yes. It's Christmas time.
Well, exactly, and you are finishing the year with a bang, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, we do have a lot of things on the go.
So maybe, ZeU has been pretty active all over 2019 and you have been doing lots of partnership, you have released new patent. I think it would be great maybe to go through all the key milestones that, since the beginning until where we are now, just before the completion of the listing on the Canadian Stock Exchange, which is a great milestone for the company.
As you know, we're, few days now from the listing in Canada and looking at probably some additional listing or secondary listing in other jurisdiction. We have a bunch of things on the go, a lot of things all coming all at once and to certain important milestones, from the lottery to the different other initiative like Mula Mail, like our post-quantum encryption initiative. You will definitely get a lot of things in early January, mid-January, and probably some good deliverables and eventually income stream coming in the first quarter. So we're running around. I don't think that JP will have any vacation during Christmas. I won't either. There's we've managed to give a little bit of time off to the non-core coders and a few of the core coders also, but I can tell you that special projects will still work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week until probably the end of February. There's so many things on the go, and we have to actually probably hire someone right now to manage the request. We have, to collaborate and to co-develop or co-brand new products.
Wow, that sounds all exciting. But JP, I wanted to start to talk a little bit about the acquisition of Vnet and obviously the element of data privacy that you brought into ZeU, which is very important, particularly nowadays, and it kind of make also ZeU different from many other blockchain companies.
ZeU was probably already very different, but a few months back, ZeU acquired my old project called Vnet, which was all about how do we handle privacy of data and how can we handle monetization of data in an ethical way. And this is something that has always been very important to me. It's part of myself. I consider myself a privacy advocate. So when I come to ZeU, and one of the great goals was to take the awesome technology developed by the genius that we have inside and find a way to make them a project, I kind of imported my vision. And I feel that ZeU is the right place to fulfill this vision and to create what I would call an environment of privacy with all the projects that we're creating or have a common aim, and so they all come together at one point as to give to people some measure of control and some measure of knowledge about what they have as data and what can they monetize with their data, while still leaving the company to create money and value out of this data. I call it the best of both world approach. So this is really like the personal add and touch that I have added into ZeU. We have a lot of things going on. We have things on the gambling and the lottery side. We're doing this in Africa, as you might know. This will be huge. We really believe that we can slowly import all these value by creating value for these people too around the world. So privacy can be achieved in a lot of ways. And this lottery is another way to enter the lives of people.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, data privacy, yes, and also then you mentioned about, gaming and gambling, which is, I understand, is your background, and this is also an area that ZeU is kind of trying to develop, going, with the deal, for example, the recent deal with Camaricoin. Maybe, Frank, do you maybe want to explain a little bit about the partnership and also the transaction that you agree with them and the opportunity that you see in Africa?
Well, what we did recently, about a month and a half ago, is we agreed with Camary to create a joint venture. So that will be based in Malta. That will run multiple initiatives that we will deploy with them. And one of them is the lottery, and that's a basket of different gambling and lottery projects that we will deploy in collaboration with Camary, but with their license holders. So with the people that work within the Camary ecosystem that have acquired license in different jurisdictions in Africa. So we've worked on this most of last week because there's a potentially a large financing that will come with within the joint venture. So that would be done through the joint venture, so without diluting either ZeU or Camary on their side. So sorry. So there's a few other things also, is that with other projects that we add in our cardboard, we are looking right now with Camary. We spent up the whole week last week looking into this in London to integrate solutions to their African ecosystem. So we have spoken also with a few other important projects that either bring internet to remote area, bring banking also to the unbankable in Africa, and also on the medical side and insurance side of things. We were in discussion with insurance companies on how we can actually deploy an offer, a commercial offer, to the people that cannot have access to different type of insurance in Africa.
Talking still about gaming, you also have a partnership with St. James House. How that is evolving? What's the latest?
Well, we've created, we've created a joint venture also with St. James in Malta. What we're planning to have, in both cases actually, we're planning to have demonstration with different gaming authorities or gaming commission in early January. We have already demonstration set up for the first game next week and the week after. So we're looking right now at filing for gaming license for the two joint venture, the one with St. James and the one with Camary in early January.
So there is a lot basically going on in the esports sector, let's say.
Yeah, well, on the esports side of things, we have other partners that approach us. We're still in negotiation. It is something that we understand fairly well, but there's a dynamic in esports. There's networks, I would say, they have their own ecosystem that we're still discovering right now, still figuring out who will be the best core partner and who we're gonna just tag along with or ride the coattail and vice versa. So esports initiative, you should see some initial things announced probably by the end of the first quarter next year.
Okay, That sounds really good. JP, talking still about data, obviously the problem and the concern about data privacy in country such as UK, US, and developing country is something, and something else is the concern about data in emerging countries such as Africa. So, for what I understand, is ZeU puts basically data privacy at the top of their priority. But what will be your strategy regarding data privacy in emerging countries such as Africa? How are you going to approach that, that side in that jurisdiction, and how it's going to be different from, for instance, US or the UK?
Well, there's some part of it that are essentially different. In the we could call Western developed world, we are already completely immersed through data. Everything that we use, either online or not online, the fact that we carry a supercomputer that is always transmitting and receiving data to a network, we're all super connected. The same thing applies to people in emerging country, as smartphone and phones are one of their biggest concern. But there's a big difference in the level of how the people are categorized. In there, people don't have banking. They barely have identity that are usable, and the level of corruption and errors that can be there makes it very different from the concern of privacy we have. The privacy concern for us is about being phished, about being a fraud, about being stolen our identity. The concern, I don't think that much people in this country are that much concerned about data privacy. To be truly honest, the one who knows about data privacy are the one who are trying to exploit it in their own advantage most of the time. So how do you approach data privacy in a country that has so much problem, and countries, pardon me, that have already so much problem that data privacy is not their biggest concern? Is you go by the ground up. You go by giving service to these people that they actually need now. Service like the banking for the unbanked, insurance for the unassured. This is a way to slowly get in the life of these people and giving them tools that by design will protect their privacy.
Exactly.
So the day that they get back to the similar situation in which we have, they will be much more prepared, because these countries are early adopters of these new technology because they need it. Because they need internet in their village, they will adopt new technology. They need electricity in their village, they will adopt new technology. They need insurance or banking online, they will adopt new technology. Same with the cryptocurrency. So as a matter of fact, Africa is probably like a treasure of early adoption for now, and there is a tremendous opportunity to bring to these people real security and privacy by design tool that will serve their life. So the strategy is giving them what they need.
Yeah,
it's a little bit. It's a bit like in the early internet, like we were talking about moving to broadband, and that people would not be able to move to broadband for lack of infrastructure, would be left behind. And people early on in mid-90s, I remember people assuming that Africa would be left behind because there was no copper wire, there was no landline anywhere. And somehow very little I would say, a limited amount of people have seen the reality or the future where wireless and mobile phone would actually, or the wireless infrastructure would allow them to do a quantum leap and go right away to broadband, where other countries like France and some region in Canada and the US were lagging behind. And right now with the blockchain, we're seeing that again, because there's so many unbankable, uninsurable, and so many citizens of Africa with no modern ID. Somehow they're ready to jump and do that quantum leap, and the punt is intended there, but they're ready to make that big jump into blockchain and embrace that revolution.
Yeah, another sector, another concern is basically land registry. So there might be construction, real estate, there might be something else that you're probably going to look at some point.
Well, at least, at the very least, in terms of authentication of the buyers and the sellers or the agent. And that's something also you probably, a lot of people remember, I've seen story in the past of people coming into Africa and buying project or property or real estate from people that were not the real owners. And realizing that years later that they had bought land that the person was not allowed to sell you. And you would have a whole chain of lawyers and government officials, all corrupt, that would be on that fraud. And the blockchain can definitely help mitigate some of this.
So Frank, we did an interview on Mula email with JP earlier on in the month. What I would like maybe you is to explain a little bit from your perspective the urgency to create an application and a service like that, so end-to-end encrypted email and messaging system, and also what are your plans in the coming year? What are you aiming to get Mula Mail something like Gmail or Yahoo, and how challenging is going to be the distribution channel, because access to all these customers? What's the plan?
Well, the way we looked at it is that our clients, and there's some confusion there where we have a lot of people that come to us and say, well, you need to get like one big client. And the approach is the same that Hotmail back in the early 90s, is that we're going to go after the corporation or groups or ecosystem, to use the current term, that have a need for that type of privacy and encryption, and we'll let them distribute it for us so that we at least acquire the critical mass that makes it after easier for adoption. And what we've done is over the last 2 months, either in Singapore, in Japan, and in the UK and Africa, is to meet with people, including India. It's to meet with companies or groups that already have hundreds of thousands, not millions subscribers in their own product line, and for whom suddenly Mula Mail becomes a value-added product into their own offering. So this way, we gain instantly millions of users, even if only 10% of them use it on a regular basis. That allows us to quickly achieve the critical mass that will allow us to get the level of adoption that after that becomes exponential.
So if I understand correctly, it's not just a mail service, it's also messaging as well.
There's messaging, there's also crypto lending that will come in. We're going to deploy that over, the full Moola will not be known by the public, if all goes well, for at least another 3 years, maybe 5 years. We'll come in with a first version of it that will have a limited amount of products attached to it or service attached to it. But down the road, we'll add to it. We'll add finance, we'll add and banking, micro lending, peer-to-peer lending. There'll be also, obviously it's a wallet, so you'll be able to do a lot of transaction. And we've come to the conclusion also that we will have to open parts of it over time so that other developers, other developers can come in and use it as a platform to deploy their own products.
Yeah, so okay, that's great. And also you have, if I understand correctly, you have also a rewarding program, basically. What my question is, how are you going to reward the first subscribers, the one they are going to, start to use Mula email earlier on next year, for example?
Well, we've done that strictly for the beta testers, and we will do it for the first 10,000. So most 10,000 subscribers. So they'll have a special status as long as this product will exist, and that it will be run by ZeU. But we don't have a defined yet royalty or loyalty program. What we realize is a lot of what we're doing right now, we're discovering what we can do as we go. We're integrating what we develop as we go on the fly, and it will be way too premature to decide how it should look in 6 months, and obviously how it should look in 5 years. So we have the intention to bring the community and try to do as much growth organically and peer-to-peer, but we don't want necessarily to set that in stone right away at this point.
Okay, when do you think we will have the first version of Mula Mail able to be used by users?
There's a working version right now that within ZeU can be used to transfer documents. For example, between me and Oliver, when we don't want anybody to snoop on us from some regulatory bodies in on other continents. That we won't name here because probably our phones, which are all Google phones, probably recorded. But we're already doing that. So there's already like a core version that can work. But we're looking right now with the development team of rolling out a first solid beta in the end of February.
Okay.
And you can probably, JP can probably tell you, because we didn't spoke in the last 3 days, JP can probably give you better dates than me.
Okay, JP, maybe I will let you to pick up on this. And also I've got 2 questions. How different is Mula Mail from, in terms of private messaging from Signal, and in terms of mail services from Pronto Mail, which are kind of encrypted, they are 2 kind of encrypted services they are using at the moment. They are being used by people at the moment.
Well, to start with, Signal is mainly a communication protocol. So it's an encryption protocol created for a massive exchange of message. So it has been optimized to be usable in large messaging systems. So that's mainly a form of protocol of encryption. When we're speaking about Proton Mail, we're speaking about the idea of end-to-end encrypted email. The interesting part with the Proton Mail, it's an excellent project. It is easy to use, but sadly, they have one point. It's that you don't own your keys. So your keys are managed by their own software, part in your computer, part in their server, meaning that you don't have the full control of your message. So as many people have learned in the cryptocurrency world, and I guess it has been made quite obvious, it is that if you don't own your wallet, you don't own your asset. We have built by design the Moola platform in which you are your wallet, so you own yourself. Everything that is from your perspective is encrypted and owned by your perspective. So in this way, we are completely different from Proton Mail because you are in control from your keys from the get-go. And this will be valid and persistent amongst all Moola projects. So your user will always be this wallet user. And this is a way in which we can create an abstraction layer that protects first part of the anonymity of the person, that protects also in the privacy way, because this person owns their own private and public key, and they can generate as much as they want on the go, either for messaging or for email. So basically, if we get back to what is different apart from Signal, but it's that even in Signal, you're not the owner of your key again. So this is a wallet-to-wallet communication, if you prefer. So
and also, if I understand correctly, if you want to send an email to me with Mula Mail, I should, I should accept you before getting.
Yeah, well, this is mainly part of the process. The fact that you own your keys also create this way. Let's make it very simple. Let's say that I send you a message. You are now in my possibly in my contact list. You have to accept me in your contact list. So my message will contain a key that will enable you to communicate privately with me. If you accept, then you will send me back a key that enables me to communicate privately with you. So then you're in my contact, I'm in your contact. We have a fully private channel to discuss together, and we are in the control of our keys. That would be a simple example.
How are you getting around the problem of storage?
The storage is a very interesting problem. We have started with the idea of storing immutability on the blockchain. As you may know, this is not a scalable model. Yeah. So this can be very interesting for public organization or organization that wants to leave a trace forever on the chain. What we have designed for now is what we could call the usage of hybrid model, enabling people to create private permission-based data repository that will have a limited number of replication, making them scalable, while being always validated into one big mother public ledger that serves as a repository of trust that is always validated by everyone and that contains the last trace of any of the message and or document and or attachment email whatsoever that has been sent. So this way you come to a point where you can delete data, you can keep data almost immutably, and but still immutability could be dangerous in time. You could never guarantee that a key will not be lost over time, over years, and this data would never ever go away. And so we had to think about this hybrid model that will have a lot of advantage, meaning that eventually we'll be able to let client decide in certain type of condition for their hosting, specifically for them. So I won't go into too much detail at this stage, but let's say that this hybrid model will give us a great measure of customization into how do you want your message to be saved, in which type of chain do you want it to be saved, which time of response time latency and block time do you desire, and you would have the ability to customize a lot of these things. So you would choose basically which type of security, which type of trust do you want to align yourself with.
Last question, I would like to talk a little bit about Web 3.0 and the internet of blockchain. We saw that ZeU has released some patent application for new protocols and has a completely different vision about the distributed digital economy and the new internet era, let's say like that. What I would like you, Frank, to do is maybe to explain a little bit your vision about this Web 3.0 and what ZeU is trying to do, basically.
I think the biggest issue we have right now, and JP is probably in sync with me on this, is that we don't know yet how far this can go and how many problems it can fix. We're actually, if you look at the development, for example, of Mula Mail, we've developed a bunch of things and realized, okay, we assume we would use a lot of off-the-shelf codes to patch certain things where we didn't need to reinvent the wheel. And then we stumble into things and realize, okay, we're going to reinvent the wheel because we can do way bigger, better wheels moving forward. There's a lot of unknown how far we can push this. And I think way too many people are trying to define what will be with catchy words, the Web 3.0 and the blockchain economy, when we know already probably the internet will be an application like a lot of others on the blockchain itself. But at the end of the day, it's still a ledger. It's still something that needs either two things. Either it's a storage of value and exchange of value, or it's actually authenticating and storing things that are a value, like your identity or valuables. And I think we're going to see a lot more developments being done in that regards, where people will start to look at application that mom and pops will use, and not as much as the hype we've seen since 2016, 2017, I would say. We're seeing that now. There's already been a clean in the last year. A lot of ICOs ran out of money. ICO that raised a lot of money in 2016, 2017, and what we see now is the real ones. For most of them that realize, okay, we need somebody to scratch a check at the end of this. We need revenue in our model. Exactly. And we're not going to go and butt heads with the banks. We're not going to go and butt heads with the traditional insurance companies and the big technology companies or communication companies. We have to bypass all these people and build the new economy. It's the only way we're going to be able to do it. It's not going to be by signing contracts with large company and think that they're going to be the white knight that will make us, into massive adoptions. We're going to have to go and see 2,000 tier 2 company and tell them, okay, we'd like you into our ecosystem, and let's all push in the same direction.
Yeah. And it's all based on use cases, which I think this is one of the strengths and the core of ZeU, that you always started saying, right, how we can monetize, how we can produce some use case, they can actually bring value to the company rather than just be a great blockchain idea.
Well, you'd be surprised the amount of use case that we also discover as we do the proof of concept. As we realize, okay, we're working on a special project, JP and I right now, and we realize this could apply to a lot more things than we expected as we started. So this is pretty much the process. We have an idea with a few early tests, we move into codes for proof of concept, and we develop additional use case, and we test it with the people that could probably be the best partner to deploy it.
Okay, so 2020 is starting very soon. It's going to be even more busy than 2019, I believe.
We're already there. Like with what you're seeing in press release right now is stuff we've been working on 3 months ago. So and there's a lot of things right now that we are probably almost ready to announce, but we'll still push to polish it and test it enough to know that we're not going to have negative surprise as we deploy it, or as we put a big light on it, to put it under follow spot for the whole world to see. We're doing it right now, doing even the proof of concept before we even file for the provisional patent, because we're doing stuff that I wouldn't like the general public to know unless we know we're solid and we have a concrete protection, by making sure that we're far ahead in front of any potential competitors.
Okay, but let's eat the listing, which I think is, will be a great Christmas present, a wonderful start of 2020, and, a great milestone for ZeU.
Well, we have an internal pool right now. I've put Festivus as the date that I bet we're going to be listed, but I don't know more than anybody else. So I don't know what date that JP choose in the pool, but the majority of the people though that participate choose something in 2019. So this is how close we are, but we might also just end up start to trade in early 2020.
Okay, that's fantastic. Really look forward for the listing and a fantastic 2020. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. I wish you Merry Christmas, and let's see the stock listed.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
So this is everything from the Financial Fox today. Happy Christmas to everyone and a fantastic 2020.